What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. Today we got a top 10 song reaction of Luba, brought to us by our friend and brand new patron of the channel, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. I say it every video, but it's true. We could not do this without the patrons. If you want to give to us just as a one-time donation or one reaction or anything like that, check out our Buy Me a Coffee page. All right, I live in the United States. I've never heard of Luba, but I've done a deep dive of research on her, so I have a decent understanding of her now. But Cindy said she knew Luba in school. They were in different circles, but when she started to have moderate success, at least here in Canada, Much Music always referred to her as Canadian Madonna. So that's pretty interesting. So here's what I found. She is a Canadian musician, singer, songwriter, and recording artist from Montreal. She's professionally active from 80 to 90, and in 2000 to 2001, she came back, and then she came back again later on in the 2000s with one kind of self-release. At the beginning of her career, she performed with the traditional Ukrainian music group Via Zoria. I'm sure I butchered that, with whom she released a self-titled album in 1973. In the 80s, she sang with her own band, Luba, which released the album Chain Reaction in 1980. She went on to have a solo career using the mononym Luba. 2 of her albums have been certified platinum by the Canadian music industry, and in Canada, that's sales of over 100,000. She's had 9 top 40 hits on the Canadian pop charts. She remains one of the most successful Canadian female artists ever. She's a 3-time winner of the Canadian Music Industry Juno Award for Female Vocalist of the Year in 85, 86, 87. Only 2 artists have won it more than her, and those are 2 heavy hitters, Anne Murray and Celine Dion. But her success was limited to her native Canada. She's never charted in the US or elsewhere, although they did try. Throughout her career, she's released 7 studio albums, 2 EPs, 2 compilation albums, and multiple singles. She also toured nationally in Canada, first opening up for Chris de Burgh, which I have a top 10 of him of, and the great Bryan Adams, which somehow I don't have anything of him of, but he's one of my personal favorites in the 80s and 90s. And then she did her own headlining tour. So she definitely had success. She was born in 1958 to Ukrainian immigrant parents, so that's how come she had the Ukrainian music. Growing up, she studied piano, guitar, flute, and voice. During her teens, she traveled across Canada to perform traditional Ukrainian folk songs at weddings and festivals. So the reason why she dropped off and didn't do any recording in the 90s is because she got divorced from a guy who was her manager and drummer at times. She got dropped from Capitol Records, couldn't land another major record label deal. Her grandmother and then her mother both died, while her sister and only relative left in Canada was battling MS. So she was going through it, so she took a step back, and you can understand how that would be for anyone. We would all want to do that. So that's kind of the story of Luba that I know. I don't have a lot on these songs. There's not a lot out there, but I did mine a lot of research. Like I said, I read about her personally and try to kind of condense it all down into this. But if you haven't been with us before, the music might not be in the video. We'll see. I'm going to try to upload this with all the music, but we'll see. Click on the Vimeo link below if the music's not on here, and you can listen to the full thing with the music on here with me. All right, let's jump into it. With number 10, Storm Before the Calm from the Secret and Sins album in 1984. Her debut, and it's also produced by Daniel Lanois, who's done some fantastic stuff with everybody from Eno to U2. Daniel is a fantastic, and Dylan. Went to 37 in Canada and 13 on the Canadian adult contemporary charts. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Cindy. Really nice voice there. Really powerful voice. I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect because, I mean, you might have a lot of Madonna fans there. I like Madonna. I mean, everybody loved her in the 80s and, into the 90s. But sometimes her voice isn't the best. This was really good. The production on it's fantastic, which I expected with Daniel. And the lyrics are nice as well. I mean, you want to say the calm before the storm every time, but the storm before the calm. So all the stuff you're going through is just a storm before the calm. You are going to get through it. So a nice choice at number 10. Except at number 9, we got Even in the Darkest Moments from the Between the Earth and Sky album in 1986, her second studio album. So 2 years between albums. This is her first album to go platinum in Canada. Even in the Darkest Moments, nice lyricism. When things get tough, I'm always going to be there. I'm sure it's to a significant other. It could be to some sort of deity as well. It would work with both things there because even in the darkest moments, I'm going to be here. Really well done there. I enjoyed the arrangement. Look, this is 80s, and I grew up in the 80s. And for a while, I pushed away from 80s music. Now, as I get older, I definitely enjoy it a lot more than I did maybe in the 90s or 2000s when I'm like, because I just listened to it so much. Obviously, I haven't heard this, but just the sound. The little repeating piano melody, and there sounds a lot like Every Time You Go Away, which is a song by Paul Young that was released the previous year that went to #1, a big hit in the US, 4 in the UK. It was actually an original song by Daryl Hall. He wrote it, and Hall & Oates recorded it in 1980, but not as a single. But it definitely sounds like that. Not the whole arrangement, just that little part. Very similar to that song. And for number 8, we're going to stay right there on that same album, Between the Earth and Sky in 1986. How Many, and then in parentheses, Rivers to Cross, 14 in Canada. She was a finalist with this song at the 1985 World Popular Song Festival in Tokyo. I don't know what that is, but if you're a finalist, that's pretty good. And also, Kenny G plays the sax solo on this. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Kenny G, there's a great documentary on Kenny G if you have HBO Max, if you have some sort of access to HBO wherever you are, that I watched a couple years ago. Like, Kenny G was incredibly famous. So to get him to be on your record tells you that she definitely was popular, and they were trying to get her more popular. Just a really well put together song, really rich lyrically. You know, it's a heartbreak. She keeps waiting for this guy, but it's just not going to happen. How many this do I got to go through? And I'm never going to have you, and I've got to get over this. Basically, the sax solo, as you would expect, is very good, but the whole arrangement is good. It's grand. The production's fantastic. It's a full song, and that everything is kind of maximized. So really well done at number 8. And we're sticking with that same album, Innocent, and then in parentheses, With an Explanation, from the Between the Sky album in 1986. Number 61 in Canada. All right, Innocent, With an Explanation. Another really good song. You know, Mark Lyman's guitar work on these last 3 songs, because they're all from the same album, and Alan Couture is also on guitars here, is just fantastic. But she sounds great. She can sing all kinds of different things. Great power in her voice. The song itself, she's innocent. She was taking the blame in this relationship. You know how it is. All of us have done, well, I won't say all of us, but most of us have done this, where you just say, I'm sorry, even when you didn't do anything wrong, because you just want the tension to end or the argument. It's not worth it. But fantastic. 3 really good songs from this album. Let's go to number 6, Giving Away a Miracle, from the All or Nothing album in 1989, her 3rd studio album. Mike Campbell, one of the great musicians around, he's a member of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, is on a lot of these tracks. It didn't tell me which ones, but a lot of these tracks on this album. This song went to number 9 in Canada. All right, Giving Away a Miracle. Sounds fantastic on this. Really enjoyed it. More of a little bit of a mature sound. It doesn't mean that your 3rd album, in this case, several years later after your debut album, is going to be better. Because oftentimes, the musical landscape is littered with people's debuts being their best stuff they ever put out. Lots of reasons for that. But one of the things is you can, mine those songs for several years, working your way up. And so those songs are fully developed and perfect. You can pick your 10 best songs. That's your debut. And then a year or 2 later, they want your 2nd album. It's not so easy. But I digress. But what I'm saying is, she sounds like, you can tell she's getting better at her craft, even though I thought she sounded really good on her early stuff. But the musicianship, the production, really, really well done. Enjoyed it. We're going to stick on that same album at number 5. We got Little Salvation from the All or Nothing in 1989. Went to 11 in Canada, so the previous song went to 9. So she's really up there on the charts at this point. Little Salvation. Luba's looking for a little salvation. Like, all of us are looking for love, little salvation from this life, right? So a fun rocking song. More up-tempo, like really up-tempo and rocking than some of the previous stuff that we've heard in the last few songs. So enjoyed it. Different side of her. All right, now at number 4, we're going to have a Stone Cold classic song, When a Man Was a Woman. This is off the Over 60 Minutes with Luba album in 1987. That is a compilation of her first 3 albums with capital EMI of Canada. 2 additional songs appear on this release, including the single The Best Is Yet to Come, which you may or may not hear later. We'll see. And this, a live version of this classic. This song itself, not for Luba, but was written by Calvin Lewis and Andrew Wright. First recorded, of course, by Percy Sledge in 1966. Went to number 1 in the U.S. on the Hot 100 and went to number 1 on the R&B charts. In 1991, so years later, Michael Bolton recorded the song, and his version peaked at number 1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the Adult Contemporary charts. This, for Luba, went to number 6 in Canada, 3 on the Canadian Adult Contemporary charts. Her biggest hit. I would say I'd be very nervous for her on this song, but I've heard enough in her voice to understand that she can pull this off, because this is a song you only tackle if you got some serious vocal ability. All right, When a Man Loves a Woman, reminder, obviously, that you hear the crowd at the end, but just a reminder, she's doing this live. There's no studio cuts, there's no takes, there's no splicing stuff together. Wonderful job. shout out to the musicians as well playing this live flawless, but she sounded fantastic. And if you watch this channel a lot, you know I'm not big on cover songs because usually like when a song by the original artist is just fantastic, probably just leave it alone. This was a great job, so I'm glad she didn't leave it alone. And my confidence in her before the song is well founded. Now at number 3, we got Every Time I See Your Picture from the EP Luba in 1982. Then it gets on Secret and Sins, her first full album that we started this countdown. I don't know what the song from there, but there were 4 songs on this EP. This song went to 23 in Canada, and this song itself is credited with jump-starting her career. Every Time I See Your Picture, that song was fantastic. You could feel her emotion. To come right out of the gate with this is insane. Now, remember, this is on the Secret and Sins album in 83, but also in 82 it was on the EP Luba. She started going across Canada in 1973, like I told you, singing Ukrainian folk songs and stuff at weddings, and then in 1975 dropped that first album. So even though this is her debut LP on her own, you know, she had the album with her own band in 1980. So she'd been around, like she's a fully formed vocalist, but this was fantastic. Mark Lyman on the guitar work there. But yeah, this song was super good. It's her most streamed song on Spotify. I can see why, but we still got 2 songs. And as they say, had to do it. The best is yet to come. I teased it earlier, and here it is. This one is from the 9.5 Weeks soundtrack in 1986, and the other song that was new on the Over 60 Minutes with Luba, the one that When a Man Loves a Woman was on. She had 2 songs on the 9.5 Weeks soundtrack. 9.5 Weeks was a movie in 1986 with Mickey Rourke, Kim Basinger. Everybody was trying to watch this show on cable that was a teenage boy. I'm just going to put it that way. And, you know, it was highly acclaimed. So for her to get songs on soundtracks, they were you know, she's definitely well thought of. In 1988, they tried to push her in the U.S. and it just didn't happen. And their U.S. record label dropped her because it was a bloodbath in the 80s on those pop charts. But you know, I really can't believe she never got traction here, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll talk about that at the end. Let's go. The best is yet to come. That, you know, optimistic look on things. If you wanted to tell somebody, if they asked you, what did 1986 music sound like? You could play them this song. This is the poster child for 1986 music. The way it's arranged with the bass, the horns popping in there to emphasize things, the percussion, it's all there. So it's really well done. Okay, drum roll, please. Except it's already given away because it's down below. Cindy's number 1 Luba song is Let It Go from the Secret and Sins album in 1984. We started the album this way, or the top 10 this way. Then Every Time I See Your Picture, the number 3 track, her most popular Spotify track, was on there, even though it was on the Luba EP. This is the other song on the 9.5 Weeks soundtrack, which the previous song, The Best Is Yet to Come, was on. This went to 95 in Canada. Let's get it. All right, Let It Go, Cindy's number 1 Luba song. I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting a reggae, calypso, 6-minute song here. It was really well done. I could tell Daniel Lanois produced this thing just by the sound of it, but the overall theme of this is just let it go, be yourself. Don't, as a woman, it's just writing it from a woman's perspective. Don't get conformed to these different things. Be yourself. Just let it go and be yourself. So it's really well done and quite the surprise. All right, now we're going to get to my favorite tracks. Top 10s are tough. They're not always tough. This one's particularly tough. I had all 10 songs on here and had to kind of go through here and start cutting things out because when you're picking an artist, your favorite 10 songs, usually they're all good. And that's the case here. You know, an album, you can kind of throw out a few songs here and there. It's easy. Like, that song isn't up to par. But these are really good. Honorable mentions, How Many? And then Rivers to Cross in parentheses. The one that had Kenny G on it. That's not why I picked it, but just as a reminder to you, the number 8 song. And then this last song, Let It Go. I got to let the reggae roll over me. I'm sure the more you hear the song, this might be number 1 for me as well. Faves are going to be Giving Away a Miracle, When a Man Loves a Woman. When you can do a song like that well, especially live. And then my favorite song on here, Every Time I See Your Picture. Just kind of my overall thoughts on Luba. Never heard of her. Can't believe she didn't make it in the U.S. in the 80s. The 80s were really difficult to get on the radio. I mean, it's my time, my teen years, my formative years. But music was really, really tough to hit the charts. But she has the sound, you know, and there's no reason why. I'm not saying she would have been as big as Madonna, but she definitely can hang vocally with Madonna and a lot of artists are there. She has a lot of versatility. Let It Go shows you that. She can do the reggae. She can do the up-tempo rock stuff, the pop stuff, the more almost ballad type stuff. I mean, she could do it all, but it wasn't meant to be. At least here in the U.S., I'm glad she had success in Canada. But thank you to Cindy for bringing an artist that we've never had on the channel, obviously, but an artist I'd never even heard of. Super enjoy this. Let me know your favorite Luba tracks down below, what else I should check out. And until next time, guys, I will see you.